Welcome again to Joe Stunner Boxing. Let's talk about Terence Crawford against ISRAIL MADRIMOV. This is coming up on Saturday. It headlines the Riyadh card, which is over in LA. Can't beat a bit of loose Angela, can you? First foray for the excellent Turkey into America. Big stat card, and this is top of the tree, Crawford versus Madrimov. Now, we don't need to talk about Crawford much. I'll just do a few basics. We know about him. Undisputed at 2 weights, 3-weight world champion, going for his fourth title, fourth weight division title. Last seen putting on one of the great performances of modern times against Errol Spence Jr., who was previously undefeated in 28. Beat the crap out of Spence and stopped him in 9 rounds. And I picked Bud to win that fight, but I said it would be on points, and I thought it would be competitive. It wasn't remotely competitive. Spence was down in round 2 twice in the 7th round, wasn't it? And then got stopped on his feet in the 9th, yeah. And, prior to that, he beat David Avanesyan in 6, and Sean Porter, he stopped him in 10. Porter, an incredibly tough man. And he had wins against Amir Khan, Kell Brook, who were both past their best. So he kind of flirted, Crawford did, with the elite. And because of his skills, people thought, well, he's magnificent. He won't have any trouble moving to the absolute top echelon of his weight division, which of course was Errol Spence. And he made Spence look silly, Spence showed a lot of courage, took his lumps like a man, but wasn't in the fight. And some people have said, and I don't think you can entirely dismiss these arguments, that Spence was, a bit shop-worn, damaged goods, hadn't lived the life properly over the years, was involved in a couple of serious car accidents, one of which you will have seen. It was his Ferrari or Lamborghini just disintegrated, and he was flung out of it prior to that and somehow survived. Most extraordinary road accident escape I think I've ever seen or ever heard of. So yeah, okay, maybe Crawford got Spence at the right time. Let's not forget that Spence, of course, is much younger. I think he's younger than quite a few years younger than Crawford, who is 36 and will be 37 in September. In terms of dimensions, he's 5'8", 78-inch reach, Bud, southpaw. So that brings us to Madrimov at 154. This is Crawford's first 154 fight. It's for the WBA title, and I think the WBO interim title is on the line. WBA title is held by Madrimov, and he won it in his last fight against Magomed Kurbanov, the Russian. That was on one of the Riyadh cards. He stopped him in the 5th round, totally dominated him. And Kurbanov was undefeated in 25 fights, but hadn't looked particularly impressive in a few of them. I mean, a lot of people that watched his fight with Liam Smith thought that Smith won that fight. So Kurbanov may have had a bit of home cooking here and there, in terms of the judges, but on paper was still a threat. And in fairness, Madrimov dominated him. Madrimov is 29, so he's in his prime. He's as good as he's going to get. Again, 5'8", 5'9", similar sort of size to Bud in terms of the dimensions. I think his reach is a lot shorter. I think he's got quite short arms for a guy of that height. Orthodox fighter, like I say, from Uzbekistan, another of the many Eastern Europeans that have, carved out a niche in modern boxing. And he is a good, strong fighter. Now, I was talking to Lee from Inside the Distance recently, and he said he thinks that Crawford Madrimov, he even used the term 50-50 fight, which I thought was interesting because Lee is someone whose opinion I respect. And I thought 50-50, that's perhaps pushing it a bit. But I know what he's getting at, and I know what a few other people are getting at when they say that Madrimov is going to be a far sterner test for Crawford than a lot of people are suggesting. They're kind of sleeping on Madrimov. Madrimov's record, put it this way, he's only had 11 fights. And he turned pro in 2018, so in 6 years he's only had 11 fights. 10 wins with 7 KOs. One was a technical draw against Michael Sorrow, clash of heads, ringside doctor stopped the fight. Prior to that, he stopped Sorrow in 9 rounds, but there was a controversial ending, hence the rematch that ended in a technical draw. So he hasn't really fought anyone except Kurbanov, and some people are saying that Kurbanov was, despite his glossy record, was overrated. So Crawford is, on paper, a quantum leap up for Madrimov, but this is his division, and let's not forget that Crawford started at lightweight, and he didn't just beat Ricky Burns for his title, which was his first world title, and then move up straight away to 140. He stuck around at lightweight, which was incredibly difficult for him to make that way. And he defended the title a couple of times as well. So, and then he moved up to 140, unified it, undisputed, 147, undisputed. Is this a weight division too far? Is he going to be able to match Madrimov for physical strength? And of course, this isn't a bodybuilding contest. This is a boxing match. We all know how good Bud is in terms of technicality, in terms of his poise, his balance, his ring IQ. I mean, he's just a magnificent specimen of a boxer. He's one of those fighters, if you've got a young boy or a young girl, maybe you've got a son or daughter who wants to box, you sit them down and you say, watch this guy, look at what he does, and you point out things that he's doing. And mentally, emotionally, he's very, very strong, very, very strong. Comes from quite a rough background, Crawford. I think he was shot when he was younger. Some card game went wrong or something, some dice game went wrong. He ended up getting popped in the back. Lucky to be here, but he's a tough guy. He's a street guy. He's from the rough end of the woods. So he won't be intimidated by Madrimov. But Madrimov, I think, Madrimov must know that he can't outbox Crawford. It's not that he's without skills, but Crawford's just too much of everything, really. So Madrimov is going to assume that he is physically stronger. He's going to assume that he's going to need to put pressure on Bud. I see him trying to do that. Again, the old cliche is you jab with the jabber, but you don't hook with a hooker. So I can see him trying to be competitive in terms of giving Crawford something to think about, putting the pressure on in an intelligent way, jab, 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 quicken the feet, try and get on top of him, try and make Bud fight at a pace he doesn't like, try and make him think about what's coming at him rather than giving him the comfort and the luxury of being able to plot and plan his own offence. In other words, it's a 12-round fight. This is my belt. This is my turf. I'm keeping it, and you're going to have to knock me flat to take my belt. He's got to impose himself from the word go. None of this downloading information or whatever they call it. Madrimov has got to, I'm not saying he should fight recklessly. Like I say, by all means, bang the jab. Put it, even if you're touching gloves, touching the arms, back jab to the chest, vary it to the head. Try and give Crawford something to look at and to think about. But when you're getting close, maybe even a few of the dark arts, rough him up, test him physically. And that's not to say that Crawford will be, weak. Of course not. He's a very, very well-preserved, nearly 37-year-old. Not many miles on the clock. Some people say they mention his lightweight days where he was shaken a couple of times. Was it Gamboa shook him, I think, in one of his fights, but he knocked Gamboa out. But I think that was more to do with the weight. I think at 147 he looked very, very strong and very durable. But he hasn't really had to show it. Madrimov has got to take him to places in terms of roughhousing that he hasn't previously seen. Now, of course, Crawford fought, he's fought a few people that are a bit rough and tumble. Sean Porter, he stopped Sean Porter in 10 rounds, which I thought was an excellent result. But Sean he's renowned for being very, very rough and constantly swarming all over you. And Crawford was able to manhandle him, keep him off, and eventually pick him off and find the punches. Can he do the same with Madrimov? I think so. People are saying, okay, he's been out of the ring since the Spence fight, which is over a year ago now. Will that matter? It's not ideal, is it? As far as Madrimov's concerned, the Kurbanov fight came in March of this year, so he's only just won this title and he's been busy. I think overall we will see a relatively competitive first 4 or 5 rounds. I think in the middle rounds, Crawford will start to find his range and find his timing and be able to time Madrimov coming in, maybe soften him up. There's going to be some body punching going on as well. Crawford's too good to neglect the body. Madrimov should definitely work the body as well. And even if the body's well protected, bang the arms, bang the forearms, bang the biceps. You know, Canelo does that very well. Softens up the arms with some good punches to kind of, you know, just make it an ordeal to keep your guard up, to keep you honest. I think it's going to be a hard, tough fight for Crawford. He's going to have to work for this. And it would not surprise me at all if Madrimov went the distance because he is physically very strong. What do I pick? I mean, I think Crawford will win. I definitely think that. I think possibly if it's a 10 round, I'll definitely pick Madrimov to go the distance. 12 rounds. Yeah, it wouldn't surprise me if he lasted the distance. I don't know. I'll go for Crawford to stop Madrimov in 10. Stop him in 10 rounds. Having just said that if it was a 10 rounder, Madrimov would go the distance. You know, I'm now going to contradict myself. I don't know. I'm not sure. Like all good fights that you're looking forward to, you can't be sure about, you know, your prediction. But I'll go for Crawford in about 10 rounds to stop him late anyway. And I think that, yeah, I think we'll see that. That'll be the win. So what do you think? What's your opinion on Madrimov? Do you think the inactivity will bother Bud Crawford? Do you think Bud is going to put on another clinic, batter Madrimov, stop him? If so, when will Madrimov go the distance? You tell me your opinions. Leave them below. Thanks for watching. Thanks for subscribing. Please subscribe if you're new and hit the like button as well because it helps us out. And spread the word about Joe Stunner Boxing. You know it makes sense. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, and bye for now.